Welcome back, Gooners. My name is Eddie, and you're listening to Gooner Pavilion. What an absolutely wonderful time to be a Gunner. Absolutely wonderful. Arsenal 3, Real Madrid 0. Let me just say that again. Arsenal 3, Real Madrid 0. We're going to talk about that incredible night at the Emirates, the Champions League night. We're going to talk about the heroes of the game. We're going to talk about Mikel Arteta and his tactics. And then we're going to look forward to Brentford. How should Mikel Arteta manage this game? How should he approach this game against Brentford? I'll be going to the Emirates to watch that game today. So let's break it all in. Come in. Let's enjoy this. Okay, let's start with Declan Rice. We got to. We got to start with Declan Rice. What an unbelievable performance from Declan Rice. I think he's joined the likes of Ronaldo, Neymar, who scored 2 free kicks in the Champions League game. Absolutely incredible. Declan took that game by storm. He's absolutely world class. I think that debate about whether Arsenal has got world class players, I think that has just been put to rest. I think it was an incredible performance from Declan Rice. I mean, who knew he could kick the ball that well? I think a lot of Arsenal fans knew that because he takes to the corners from that left-hand side and he's always deadly accurate. But taking direct free kicks, I think that stunned everyone. I was absolutely screaming when the goals went in. It was an absolutely incredible performance from Declan Rice. And I think Declan Rice, he controlled the midfield. He was running in, breaking in. It was a masterclass of a performance from Declan Rice. Absolutely loved it. Um, the second free kick, the curl, the dip, the audacity. I think Arsenal have had lots of great players. I'm talking about the likes of Thierry Henry. I'm talking about the likes of Dennis Bergkamp. But I think right now, Declan Rice is the closest thing to Patrick Vieira. In fact, I think right now he is the Patrick Vieira of the team. And what that means, it only means one thing. Patrick Vieira was synonymous with Arsenal winning titles when he was there. And I think that this is exactly the reason why Declan Rice was brought into Arsenal, to take Arsenal over the line. We thought it was going to be immediate, but maybe this is the season that he absolutely does that. Remember what he did to West Ham, driving them to win that Europa Conference trophy? I think he can do exactly the same thing for Arsenal. Absolutely great. Let's talk about Lewis-Skelly. Oh my goodness. This kid belongs. He absolutely belongs. He's 18 years old and he's not just surviving, but he's actually thriving in the midst of players who have been playing for years and years. This kid has got no fear whatsoever. He takes the ball, he runs past people, he shrugs people off. I dare say he's probably progressing even faster than we would have thought. I remember at the start of the season, he was jogging on the sidelines for that first game against Manchester City. And you were kind of thinking, is he gonna be there? Is he gonna play? And I was thinking in my head, why is Mikel Arteta even considering playing this kid in the game? He came on in that game very late in the game. And but who would have thought months from now that he would be Arsenal's left back? Because that left back position is Lewis-Skelly's to lose. I just don't see anybody else stepping in front of him. I think he's taken that left back position and absolutely made it his own. And he's only 18. Look, after this performance, right, I think he believes it too. I think he believes it. He was aggressive. strong, fearless. And when you do that with a team like Real Madrid, I think you've got to give Mikel Arteta some real credit here because he's managed this kid's development and he's given him confidence by playing him in the big games. His performance has also justified that selection for another game. He was absolutely incredible. Honorable mention to Thomas Partey. I'm going to talk about Thomas Partey because I think that it will be a huge mistake for Arsenal to let him go. I understand the financial implications about Thomas Partey, what he's currently earning, but I think every team needs someone with that kind of experience that can actually perform in the big games. Thomas Partey, why can't he be like Fernandinho for us? Remember Fernandinho in Manchester City, how even though he was aging, he was still coming on the big games and putting in a performance. I think we need to think about whether we really want to let Thomas Partey go because I think there is still a lot that he can provide for Arsenal in that squad. I think especially considering that now we are firmly now going to be going for 4 trophies every single season. You need the squad depth without a drop in quality. And for me, I think we need to think about Thomas Partey. So it'd be interesting to see what Arsenal would do towards the summer. Let me know what you think about Thomas Partey. But let's talk about Bukayo Saka. He's the silent spark. I think every conversation right now about Bukayo Saka and Foden, I think everybody should just kill it. I was very, very disappointed. Foden won the PFA Player of the Year last season. And I thought to myself, what has Foden really, really done? He had 3 months of an incredible performance last season. And because of that, they just handed him that trophy. Meanwhile, Saka does an 8 out of 10 every single game. Arsenal for me identity, a bit like when we had Thierry Henry, is Bukayo Saka, and he's not even 100% fit. He played at Real Madrid, and he absolutely gave Alaba a torrid time, nightmares. He was also responsible for the 2 free kicks that led to Declan Rice, absolutely world class, including the pep talk that he gave to Declan Rice before he took that first free kick. For me, Bukayo Saka is an unbelievable player. I think that competition about world class is dead. When you do it against one of the best teams in Europe, arguably the best team in Europe, because listen, people might talk about Real Madrid, about how they're performing this season, that they're not the Real Madrid of old. But we all know what Real Madrid is. They're a top club. When it comes to the Champions League, they're a different animal. To do that against the likes of Rodrigo, the likes of Vinicius Junior, Jude Bellingham, Mbappe in that squad, and Bukayo Saka shone like the brightest of lights. I think for me, there's so much that can be said about Bukayo Saka, but he absolutely, absolutely was incredible in that game. Now let's talk about Mikel Arteta. Listen, I think everyone knows if you watch this channel, see me on other channels as well. I wasn't exactly a Mikel Arteta fan. I don't know how many times I keep saying that. So when I am talking about him, it is as objective as it can be. It's not just about someone who's so in love with Mikel Arteta because I do go in for him when he gets it wrong. But you cannot say that Mikel Arteta managed the 2 games absolutely perfectly. The game against Everton and the game against Real Madrid, the squad selection, the rotation of players, the managing of minutes, making the players believe in themselves to go into that Real Madrid game and perform the way that they perform. Absolutely, I think it's absolutely unbelievable. Listen, I know the tie is not done, but I think you need to give credit where credit um, is due because Mikel Arteta knew that Ancelotti was going to target our flanks. He knew that, and so what did he do? He brought in a system that allowed us to contain Mbappe and contain Vinicius Junior. There were a few times where Mbappe got into behind the team, especially in the first half, but in the second half, completely adjusted that. And it has to go to show that he's a very, very good manager. He's a young manager who would oftentimes get it wrong. And I don't think that he's immune from criticism. And I think even he would accept that. But I think on a day like this, on a night like against Real Madrid, he deserves every single plaudit that he's supposed to get. I think Mikel Arteta was absolutely incredible. The midfield overloads that he created in that game, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Odegaard had more of this more quiet game. But sometimes I do like that actually. I do like the fact that we can actually find solutions from other parts of the pitch. There's been a long too many times where one player dictates how Arsenal performs. And the fact that we can find resources from other parts of the team, other parts of our midfield, I think it's very encouraging for the future as well. But all of this is about trophies. We need to win trophies. So until that actually happens, there's always going to be a jury out. But I don't think right now, this is not the day, it is not the time we're going to give Mikel Arteta all the credit whatsoever. Now, listen. It's Brentford today at the Emirates. It's a great thing that it's at the Emirates because we don't have to travel for this game. However, let's talk about this. This is a classic trap fixture. In the NFL, this is what you call a trap game. It's a game against a team that normally you should actually perform against. We beat Brentford when we played them away from home. At home, you expect us to actually play them, but then and win. But you've got a game against Real Madrid. How do you balance this? How do you make sure that the players are getting the right amount of minutes? How do you make sure that there are no injuries, which is number one priority in this game? I think it's fair to say that the Premier League is very, very over. I think the fact that Liverpool needs to lose another 4 games for Arsenal to get anywhere close to thinking about a title again is probably unlikely, especially buoyed by the fact that, as the news is suggesting, that Mo Salah has signed a new contract, expecting to celebrate that contract with another performance against West Ham, who I believe that they are playing. So I think right now this is all about Arsenal. Let's think about ourselves. Let's be selfish. Players like Bukayo Saka, Saliba, Rice, I think they all deserve a rest. I know Rice wants to play every single game, but I think you want him to be fully rested in that game. So those are the players that I will look to rest. And listen, there are players that can come in and play for those players. I think Kivio deserves another run in the game today. I wouldn't rest him because I want him to build his confidence and performance from that Real Madrid game. And then Ben White. Ben White needs to start. He needs to play. And I don't know if Ricardo Calafiori is going to be ready for this game. Um, I, I I think there is some potential that he might be, but if he shocks us, I would then play Ben White, and also I will play Ricardo Calafiori. Julian Timber, I think he's so important for Arsenal against Real Madrid. So I might give him a couple of minutes, but also look to bring him off as well. Thomas Partey, I think you play him. I think he's a player that needs the minutes. He also needs to build on the performance that he had against Real Madrid. And up top, we do exactly what we did against West Ham. We bring in Trossard, we bring in one area we bring in Sterling. You remember Sterling created the assist for Trossard, so perhaps he's building some confidence in this game. The likelihood that he plays against Real Madrid on Wednesday is probably unlikely. So for me, that will be the rotation. Brentford is not going to be an easy team to play against, but you take a 1-0 victory against Brentford, and I think that's what you want going into this game. But guys, let me know exactly what you think the squad should look like for this Arsenal versus Brentford. And then now we talk about the second leg. The second leg at the Bernabéu. That place does things to teams. It's a cauldron. It's what you call back in the day when the gladiators go into the arena and they perform. That is like an arena. That stadium has a lot of magic. It has a lot of sway. And if the fans get behind Real Madrid, I think Arsenal are going to have a really, really tough night. But I am very encouraged because I think that Mikel Arteta has the tactical awareness to go in there and play a game that is balanced, play a game that doesn't just sit back and expect Real Madrid. I think what's going to be important for Arsenal is the first 20 minutes because you would expect Real Madrid to want to score at least one goal in the first 20 minutes. If I'm Ancelotti, that's what I'll be looking at. You look at the game in sectors, you look at the game in parts. It's a 90 minutes where you break it up in chunks, right? So you say, listen, if we get a goal in the first 15 minutes, we've got another 65 minutes or 75 minutes to actually get two goals. And with a team like Real Madrid, they're very, very capable of doing that. And if the game goes into extra time, goes into penalties, you think that they will fancy Thibaut Courtois to save at least one or two penalties. So I think we don't allow that scenario to play out. I think you go in, be compact. Arsenal are very good defensively, so I expect Mikel Arteta to want to play with that. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on holding the ball, keeping the ball as much as possible. I think you're going to have this midfielder, Chouameni. I think that's how he's I'm probably not saying his name right. But I think he's going to be back for this game. I think he was suspended for the first game. I think he might be back for this game. I don't see Alaba playing in this game as well. So there's probably going to be someone that comes in for that. But I expect a much better performance from Real Madrid. I think everyone will. But I think you keep Real Madrid quiet, you let the game go 0-0 into 45 minutes, and then they start to panic. And I think with that Martinelli pace, you can even bring in Waneri into the game at that point in time. Arsenal should be able to nick a goal or two in that game and completely put the tie to bed. That's what I expect. Right. History says that the Bernabéu is no place for tourists. Arsenal are no tourists. So we're not tourists anymore. I think we are contenders. And I think we need to go with the swagger and the confidence. I know everyone is going to be saying, ooh, be worried about Bernabéu, Santiago Bernabéu. But I think it's a different kind of emotion to take into that game. It's not an emotion of overconfidence or arrogance or thinking that the tie is done. Arsenal played very humble against Real Madrid. I think you go in there knowing that you belong in that game, and also the fact that you go in playing the way that you want to play. You might have to adjust a couple of things in terms of the midfield. I think is still going to be key. Real Madrid are going to be looking to release Mbappe and release Vinicius Jr. at pace very quickly in quick transition. So I think we've shown that we are capable, of managing that. I think the teams that we really struggle against are teams like maybe Newcastle, teams like maybe Aston Villa that are capable of attacking us with pace, but I think attacking us in between our centre backs and our full backs. And I think Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, they like to go from outside coming in. So I think that suits us because I think that allows us to regroup very, very quickly. Raya is going to need to have an absolutely cracking game for us to get a result. But I think this is possible. I think we can come out of this game unscared. But guys, let me know what you think about it. Listen, that's all from me. I need to go get a bit more active. I'm going to play some football right now and then start to prepare for the trip to the Emirates today. Arsenal versus Brentford. What a win, guys. What a team. This is, as Arsenal fans, we've been waiting for this for years and years to see this sort of performance. So let's enjoy it. But let me know your thoughts about how you saw that game, who impressed you the most, and more importantly, how should Arsenal approach the game today against Brentford? The energy is real, guys. The belief is back. Come for the family, stay for the Arsenal. And listen, guys, until next time, come on, you Gunners.